Hi guys, welcome to yet another weekly Laser Talk, and this time we'll be talking about A Little Princess, the 1995 movie here. This is a story, the original book has been adapted so many times, countless times, even as far as back as I think 1917, I want to say. There's a Mary Pickford silent film. Shirley Temple's another very notable one. It's been adapted into multiple TV variations, a musical at one point. This is a story that's been told so many times, but without question, this is my favorite version. This is the one instance, I really can't think of another, where I genuinely like an adaptation better than the book. This is something, I love this movie. This, to me, is that story perfected. Young Sarah Crew, played amazingly by Leslie Matthews in this edition here. It's 1914. She is sent to a girls' boarding school when her mother had died previously. Her father is who volunteers to fight in World War I, and she's sent to this boarding school. It's not quite what it seems. It's incredibly strict, and things are not so great to begin with. And then her father is, I'm not going to explain the circumstances or what happens, but her father is mistaken for dead. He's actually is not dead, but they find out that his assets have been seized and he's claimed to be dead. She has no other living relatives, so she becomes fairly quickly in the film a servant living in this place that she was formerly a girl in this boarding school. And the situation again turns more sour, and I'm trying to avoid as many spoilers as possible because it's not just, you see a lot of stuff coming many times as you're watching this film. It's not something that has quite as many twists and turns because it's such a well-known story. Even if you don't know this in particular, you'll start to kind of get hints of what's happening as you go along, but the way everything is done, that doesn't really matter. Everything is presented so emotionally and so magically from start to finish. Everything about this movie is like a dream. It is absolutely beautiful. It really gets the period down perfectly. Cinematography is fantastic. Everything about it visually is great. The music is great. But what really sells it is the acting, particularly of the child actors. Everyone in this does an incredible job. I really can't find fault in anyone in this movie as far as their performance. Everything is done so well, and you just get involved in that world and you believe what is happening. And I gotta say, right here, this is just an amazing underrated actress who I think was only in maybe 3 movies. She's hardly been in everything. I think this might have been her first role, and definitely her best and most well-known. And just everything about her performance is so believable. When she was telling stories to try and make the world a better place, her little world within this boarding school, and really help the girls in different forms, she just is a natural storyteller. You can really feel these stories come to life, and then they visually do come alive. You see, as these girls are being told stories and tell each other stories and are imagining these fanciful tales to try and escape their reality, they're shown on screen with great presentation. I mean, just everything, even from the CGI aspects to the makeup to the more practical effects, everything about it just has this beautiful, magical quality to it. There's almost elements of a living painting in some scenes. Like, it's brilliantly done. Everything is just so engrossing, and there's so many emotional scenes. This is a movie that I will openly admit I still cry during some scenes when I see this. When she first finds out that her dad is dead, even, it's crazy. Even though he's not really dead at that point, I won't spoil whether or not he's actually dead at the end of the movie or not, but at that point, it's that he has been mistakenly considered dead. Just crying up in the attic, and her life is in shambles. It's just unbelievably incredible emotionally. Just, this movie is so heavy in some forms, and then there's so many instances where it's uplifting, and it's uplifting despite what is happening, despite being in these horrible, dark times in so many forms and so many negative elements going on in their lives. They pull themselves through with such positivity through storytelling and finding themselves and coming together. It's great. It's everything about it is amazing. This is one that eventually I'd like to go through and use some actual footage from it and do a real long, in-depth review of. This is just an absolutely amazing movie. I wanted to come on here and talk about this during the Summer of the 90s thing that we're doing here, and talk about a really great 90s movie that you have to check out. We mentioned it during one of the years when this comes out, but this is one that I wanted to give it a second shout out with its own little laser talk. And is a really good example of one thing that I really like to do with movies. I rarely watch a movie fewer than 2 times unless I really, really dislike it. When I watch a movie for the first time, I like to really be able to set aside time and space to compartmentalize and really make this movie, for the short period of time, hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever, my world. That's how I like to be able to watch a movie, and why I used to like really going to movie theaters. Not so much anymore. Just the culture ever since cell phones came out, it just, especially just in my experience, it's just been horrible, and the atmosphere is not the same. But I really like to, when I'm watching a movie for the first time, be able to find a place where I know that, like, all right, I don't have to be anywhere the next couple hours. I am pretty sure, like, I've taken care of everything I need to do for the day, and people probably aren't going to call me next couple hours, and, like, everything's set, and, like, my mind is nothing else that has to take away focus, where I know that there's a little bit of time set aside where I can really just become emotionally involved in the movie and try to not pay attention to any technical aspects whatsoever, just be in that movie as if I am in that world. And this is one of those movies that I can do that with so easily, and I just will get attached to it in a second or third viewing. It's so easy. And then I like to go back and watch movies and look at it in a different respect, and try and pay more attention to the directing, pay more attention to different little technical aspects of filmmaking, and just have fun with it that way and kind of take it apart. But I always like to do that, and then, of course, a movie that I like, watch it countless other times, like this one. But this is a perfect one to do that with, and I brought that up because if it's a movie you've not seen before, or if you've only seen different variations of this. Like I said, the Shirley Temple one is probably the next most popular version of this. This is one that I think you will get so much more out of if you do that, if you really set aside time and have kind of like a movie night with it. It's not really casually have on in the background while you're texting your friends kind of thing. This is one that I think, to truly get the most out of, you will take a genuine emotional journey with this movie. It is so well done, absolutely amazing. And it's an interesting one because at the time, Warner Brothers didn't promote it much at all. It's actually pretty understood that I don't know if they just didn't have faith in it, or they just really thought it was something that wasn't going to be a big blockbuster for them. They didn't really give it much promotion, and it didn't do very well in theaters, but it was critically acclaimed, and ever since then, it has become very well known and sold well on VHS and on LaserDisc, and I'm not sure about DVD. I'm pretty sure it's out on DVD. It's probably in a double pack with, like, Secret Garden, another really good one from the same time here. But yeah, it's an amazing movie that I think a lot of people have missed over, and it's a forgotten 90s classic in my opinion. I think it's one of the best movies of the decade, so you definitely need to check out this version in particular of A Little Princess.